So hello everybody, welcome in this new day, new morning of webinar in the framework of Star Cities project. So yesterday we talked about governance and with tourism management, and today we will propose you a very rich morning of presentations of good practices, operational good practices related to joint strategies for river tourism during the first part of the morning, and then we will have another a second part dedicated to collaborative projects and actions. The idea of this full morning is really to show how cooperation between stakeholders, destination management organizations, and all the ecosystem along the rivers can lead to river development by implementing strategies or specific actions and projects. And we will start with the joint strategies. And to start with, I will present you our work on the Marne River. For those who were here yesterday, I presented the governance and the system of cooperation we built along the Marne River with a lot of partners of local stakeholders. And today I will focus on a specific strategy that we are implementing with 3 other destination management organizations. So here is the project area in our territory. So as you can see, for those who join us today, it's along the Marne River. It's almost 50 kilometers long, including 30 towns and a lot of inhabitants, of course, because we are in the perimeter of the Greater Paris metropolis. So it's a very urban environment. And here is the map of the river with the area managed by each of the destination management organization we are working with. So the first part close to Paris is managed by us, Val-de-Marne Tourism Board. Then we have a part managed by Syndicat Tourism, and then we have 2 other parts. This one managed by Paris Vallée de la Marne Tourist Office and Marne-et-Gondoire Tourism Office for the last part. So the idea is really to deepen our cooperation with those DMOs. We know them for a few years, and we are working together for a few years. But since the last year, we decided to have a more deeper cooperation to develop river tourism along the Marne. So how do we work? So first, we decided to sign a partnership agreement. So it's a contract signed between our 4 destination management organizations by our legal representatives. And this partnership agreement is for the next 3 years, and the main objective of this contract is to agree on the common objectives to develop then in the second hand to develop joint actions. So our main 3 objectives are to join forces to facilitate the emergence of joint projects aimed at developing, enhancing, and promoting the tourist offer of the Marne River. Then the second objective is to set up a cooperation and a coordination system of our tourism products and to ensure synergies between all our different actions and also between our local stakeholders. And the last one is to improve the quality of the tourist offer and tourist services. So the partnership agreement is the first step of our cooperation. So it has been signed by our legal representatives. And then, for the next 3 years, and then we adopted each year, we adopt a work plan for the coming year with a provisional budget. So each year we do a progress meeting and we assess the past year actions and decide the actions to be implemented all together during the coming year. So it's a quite simple management, let's say. And then we have progress meetings depending on the progress of the project, but usually on a monthly basis during the most of the year. Also, I have to say that it's very important to share the different projects and the different tasks around this cooperation project. So the general coordination is ensured by us, the Val-de-Marne Tourism Board, and then we have several projects to be implemented during the year, and each DMO coordinates at least one of these projects, one of these action. So the tasks are really shared and to ensure that it's possible to implement all those actions. So now I would like to focus on two actions we implemented the past year in 2020. And then I will present you our work program for the ongoing year. So last year we decided to organize a commented courses program. So first, why? Because today there are really no commented courses organized during the spring and summer in the Marne River. It can be surprising, but all the offer of boat cruises is really centralized in the center of Paris, and it's quite complicated to organize this kind of boat trips in other parts of the region. So for us, it's really important that people can go on the river and learn about the history, the natural and cultural heritage, etc. So that's why we decided to try to organize this kind of boat trips, and also why we did it not alone, let's say, as a tourist board, but with our partners along the Marne. Also because it's very expensive to organize this kind of activity. You have to rent a boat with a crew and to elaborate a program with a tourist guide to comment the boat trips, etc. So it's really, let's say, mandatory or really with added value to join forces and to share the costs of this kind of action. So as I said, we went a boat with a crew. So we had a partnership with an association working on the river and organizing this kind of cruises. Then we elaborate a joint program with cruises from all our territories. So the entire study area, the entire project area is covered by this program. And then, of course, we also implemented a joint communication and joint strategy of marketing to sell those boat trips. And at the end of the year, we assess the expenditures, the revenues we get from the selling of the boat trips, and then we share the cost of this action. So originally we planned to organize 4 weekends of boat trips during the spring and summer, but finally, because of the COVID crisis, we organized only one in September, and we, as you can see on the figures box, we welcomed a lot of participants, but less than expected, also because the boat can't welcome has passengers as usual because of the sanitary crisis, also because of the pandemic. So here is the first focus, and now I will also present you another action we implemented in this year. So we decided to coach the water sports clubs on the Marne River because there is a lot of water sports club, more than 30 clubs on the project area. But most of them are welcoming only members for nautical activities and not visitors or tourists. So we decided to join our forces again to coach those water sports clubs to try to help them, support them to develop new tourism products. So have we done? So we launched a survey to the clubs, to all the clubs, to identify the strengths, weaknesses, and also the needs for support by us as a tourism board. So we launched the survey in February of 2020. Then during the spring 2020, we organized 3 webinars to discuss and present how to develop water tourism activities linked with water sports activities. Also to present our marketing and communication tools as tourism boards, and to explain to the clubs how we can support them using those tools for marketing and communication. And then each DMO has to coach individually, let's say, the clubs that would like to develop or improve the tourist activities on the water. Also, we provide our marketing tools for example, for clubs to book the activities they would like to organize. And of course, also we communicate a lot on this new offer or improved offer to give visibility to to what water sports clubs organized during the spring and summer. So we had a good participation by the clubs. Of course, um, um, not a lot of tourist activities at the end because of the pandemic also. But we think that this year, of course, if the situation is better on the spring and summer, we will have the benefit, let's say, of this coaching with new tourist activities, etc., during this year, during 2021. And to finish, here is our work plan for the coming year. So as you can see, we have 2 priority axes. The first one is the development of the offer, so development of new tourism product. So again, we would like to organize a program of commented cruises during the spring and the summer. We plan to organize 6 weekends of, um, of boat trips on the river. Then we will carry on and try to support more and more the water sports clubs to have new activities proposed to visitors and tourists on the river also. Then the action 3, we will organize 2 events which are a mix of hiking and discovering along the Marne River. So the idea is to propose 2 full days of hiking, so around almost 13 kilometers to walk during the day. And while you are walking, you can visit some places, or there is some animations and some small events to discover the natural and cultural heritage of the river. Also, we would like to work on the valorization of cycle routes. Um, Cycling is quite easy along the Marne, but sometimes people don't know which itineraries are better or possible, etc. So we will work on more on the communication, mainly around cycle routes, and then also to be able to develop our boat trips offer. We would like to work on the support of public actors, mainly to develop new infrastructures for boat trips, for cruises. Then the second axis is the communication. So it's also a very important action, of course. So the first one is to create and implement a common communication strategy to promote mainly the activities we will organize. So the boat trips, the water sports activities, our 2 events, etc. And then the second action in terms of communication is to create a tourist map corresponding to our project area, because each of the DMO has his own tourist map of his territory, which is not only the Marne River, of course. So the idea is to create a specific and dedicated tourist map to present to visitors, etc., and also to attract them to try to show what can be done, and what you can do, what you can see, etc., on this along the Marne River on this project area. So it's quite an ambitious program. So as I said, we have a provisional budget for this. So all the actions are planned to cost around 64,000 euros for the full actions for the full year. And to fund this work plan, we can do it alone with our own funds, even if we will of course contribute, each DMO will contribute to part of this budget, but we need another source of funding. So we asked to the region, to the Île-de-France region, through the Regional Tourism Fund, and our application is under review. So we are crossing um, fingers to have this funding, because if we don't have this funding, it will be quite complicated to implement all those actions, and it will be the conclusion award, I would say, that the main challenge in to develop river tourism in our territory is mainly money, and we don't have so much possibility to fund this kind of action, this kind of activities. So funding is the main challenge for us. I think that's all for me. If you have questions, don't hesitate to put it in on the chat, and then we'll go to the next presentation.
We don't have any questions at the moment, but
okay,
maybe we will have some later.
Okay, thank you,
We'll
Alexi.
see.
So we can go to Hamburg now with Sarah.
So welcome, warm welcome, dear Star Cities crew. Some of you might already know me from the last time. My name is Sarah, and I'm going to present the project Kurs Elbe from Hamburg to Wittenberge out of the metropolitan region of Hamburg. Next slide. Yeah, what is it? Kurs Elbe is a cooperation project of 6 partners in 5 German states along the River Elbe from Hamburg to eastwards to Wittenberge. The project was originally developed from a lead project of the Hamburg metropolitan region. A total of 6 partner regions are involved. And the goal of the project is the development of the Elbe section between Hamburg and Wittenberge as a local recreation and tourism region, as well as the networking function of cross-border tourism offers. The next slide, please. So who initiated and how is it financed? A big question always. As just mentioned, the project was originally financed by the Hamburg metropolitan region. However, the partners were still interested in continuing Kurs Elbe after its expiration, and each partner has been contributing 10,000 euros annually to the project since then. The project is organized by a project manager. He represents 2 of the 6 partners with the river landscape. Me as a person and we as the consulting agency Inspectur take over the coordination of the project. That means steering group meetings, which take place 5 to 8 times a year to discuss current topics and act as an interface and contact person between the 6 partner regions. In addition, we take over the implementation of measures. Currently, for example, our new marketing strategy. But I have to say that the partner regions include Kurs Elbe in their own marketing channels, because all the destinations, of course, have their own marketing tools and they include Kurs Elbe into their own. Next slide. Yeah, this map shows the entire region. For those who know Hamburg and the region, the area runs along the Elbe about 180 kilometers from Hamburg to Wittenberge. The partners are located with their regions on both sides of the Elbe. In the middle, you can see the Elbe River, and the partners are on the left and on the right of the Elbe River. On the next slides, you can see some impressions from the region. Please click on the next 5 slides. Yeah, that's how it looks like in our region. Thank you. So about what we achieved so far, a major milestone in the project is the story about Annie, which is a pretty cute, small, living water drop. It's a drop of water that goes on a discovery tour on and along the river and visits various stations in the 6 partner regions. There are a total of 20 audio stories that can currently be listened to on the Kurs Elbe website. And these include nature experience stations, a castle, a palace, but also other beautiful places directly on the Elbe River. In addition to the presentation of the region, there is also the opportunity to establish an improved network among the various stations, the 20 stations. So the idea originated in the LEAD project was cultural landscape routes, which is also a project of the Hamburg metropolitan region. There, us and other cultural landscapes have also made their experiences audible with audible short stories about their regions. So next slide. The goal of ANY is to attract a younger target group and families, next to combining central themes of water and tourism with a new but simple format. Next slide. Here you can see a map of the variety of stations. This is a screenshot from our homepage, and on top there is ANY jumping out of the water, and you can click on the stories. They are all in German. You can but you can click and listen to ANY's crazy adventures along the Elbe River. The next slide, please. Yeah, these are we had a professional illustrator that illustrated ANY and along the 20 stations. The next slide, please. What we achieved so far as well is our marketing strategy. It's still very current and relevant because we just finished the marketing strategy, and it was created by an external agency. This strategy was about developing a concrete roadmap for the external presentation and impact of Kurs Elbe. Among other things, Kurs Elbe has been given a new logo and design, a color concept, and which is to be implemented on all channels. There will also be a redesign of our homepage and a more concrete approach to the relevant target groups. The next slide. This is our homepage, another important communication tool of Kurs Elbe, of course. Currently, various informations for guests are presented there, such as the topics like Elbe navigation, nature, active events. The region in general has, and the possibility of downloading various brochures. As just mentioned, however, a newer and clearer presentation and approach has emerged from the marketing strategy. So there will be a relaunch of the website in 2021. So it's also possible to read in English. So if you are interested, there is the source www.kurs-elbe.de. So next slide, please. Kurs Elbe is also very active in social media with an Instagram and Facebook account. We have hired an external social media representative who takes care of the administration of these two accounts and always posts new content. There are about 10 to 12 posts per month per channel on a wide variety of topics. Everything is included, from tips for excursions to cultural and gastronomic establishments or current events. Next slide, please. This is here are the two channels visually represented. Kurs Elbe on the left is Instagram, on the right Facebook. Next slide. As I reported in the last Star Cities presentation, Kurs Elbe also has its own annual event, the Elbfest. For all those who were not there last time, here is a short summary. There's a varied program on both sides of the Elbe for the guests, with live music, show acts, and colorful market with various activities to participate. But due to the corona pandemic, this event could not take place in 2020, and this year it will unfortunately be cancelled as well. But we hope that we will start again 2022 under different circumstances, of course. The next slide. These are just two pictures from the Elbfest talked about last time. Next slide. Yeah, a relevant offer in the region is the Elbe cycle route as one of the most popular long-distance cycle routes in Germany. It is also of great importance for Kurs Elbe because it goes straight through from Hamburg to Wittenberge through our region. The coordination office for this section of the Elbe cycle path is located in the heart of our region in Lauenburg. But I do not want to say much more about it because we later will hear a report about the Elbe cycle route. So the next slide. Of course, a project always brings its challenges. So one problem relates to the low level of awareness of the region among both guests and service providers. As a result, increased networking is particularly necessary. We do as good as we can. In the project, we have to deal with different levels among the partners, counties, DMOs, and individual municipalities, which sometimes make it difficult to reach quick agreements. So in order to be able to initiate new projects in the future, the acquisition of funding is necessary, but also successful. I'll talk about it on the next slide. Our plans for 2021 are to implement the marketing strategy in order to better address our target groups. Another upcoming project is the creation of a web app to keep Kurs Elbe up to date and in the area of digitalization. Any in particular plays a role in this to gain more visibility. And the web app is funded and supported with half of it we don't have to pay, so which we are very lucky this year that this is possible for us. Another major step is the preparation for the extension of the project from 2022. It's a 5-year project, and this year this year it will end normally in 2021, but hopefully we are able to look forward to the next 5 years with all of the 6 partners. It's a big way to go this year, but I hope it will work. So that was it from me. If you have any questions, thank you for any attention. Feel free, and I will answer as good as I can.
Thank you, Sarah. There was a question from Vilte asking about the audio stories. Are they available for native speakers?
Yeah, at the moment they are only for German speakers. Mm-hmm.
Oh. Okay, and do you plan to extend it to English?
At the moment, not. Maybe in the future, but that's a good idea. I have to take this to our group and discuss it.
Okay, thank you. There was also a question to Camille about your previous presentation. So do you want to answer it now?
Maybe we can answer at the end of the first part of presentations. But okay. I also have a small question for Sarah. Sarah, you mentioned that each partner contributes, I think, 10,000 euros per year. Do you have other contributors? Let's say, for example, do the municipalities, for example, or the counties contribute, or only the 6 partners?
It's only the 6 partners, and it's mostly it's governmental money because they got it from their own governments. For some special events like the Elbfest or Hafengeburtstag or Harbor Birthday in Hamburg, we have sponsors like banks sometimes, or local businesses that sponsor, but usually it's only the 10,000, which means it's 60,000 a year for every partner.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
So we will start another presentation in Italy, this time in Rome. Paola, are you ready?
Yes, I am.
Okay,
You
so
hear
the
me?
floor is yours. Yes, we hear you very well.
Okay, so first of all, I have to thank you for inviting me and Alessandro Drago, especially for Region Lazio, that give us this possibility to be here to present our experience. Our experience is quite different from the one we up to now, because I'm the president of Agenda Tevere. The Agenda Tevere is an association of citizen and association. Now you can stay on the first slide, so I explain which is our experience. And we are not an institution. We are just citizens that in the situation that we saw of our river, we decided to start more than 3 years ago to engage our time in a volunteer as volunteer for trying to understand why the situation was so in decay. Our river was so in decay. If you go on, I can show you some picture, and then I will show you how we start to work. I mean, every one of you probably have heard about the Tevere, because it's not only a common good, but it's a global common good. And in this sense, we think that it's unbelievable the decay in which the river was gone in the last years. And about tourists, we are one of the most visited capital in Europe, but never the tour take in account a visit on the river. It's mostly dangerous to go down on the river, but if you try to do this, and there is now there are associations that are using to do this, to go on the boat on the river, you have a wonderful view of the history of our culture, I would say. So you can go on. In the past, in the recent past, Romans have a relation with the river, and they were using this river. And my mother is remembering when she was going taking bath on the river. And but then slowly the city start to give her back to the river, and the situation is a situation of decay. The river banks are the back of the urbanizing area, and then it becomes very I mean, as always it happens in the cities, people start to use that when they want to go out of the urbanized area. So this is the decay you can see on the river, and there are actually a picture of even on the right side you can see a park. I mean, this is a park, one of the only public park on the river bank, was realized from the region Lazio 3 years ago, but then was used like this from people, or it was completely abandoned and not in maintenance. I mean, this was the situation we found. You can go on the next picture. And then we decided to invest our competence. I mean, I'm personally a professor in University of Urban Planning, but a lot of other people invest their competence in trying to understand the reason of this situation, with an approach that was not to critique the institution because of the situation, to protest because of the situation, but just to try to understand and to try to collaborate with the institution and give our know-how to them, to try together to understand, together citizens with institutions, to try to understand what happened. And then we start to study for understanding this. And the main things, it took a long time. We were starting to make maps, and what we realized that one of the main topics on the river, and this is probably not only in our river, but it's a problem that is all over Europe, I think. There is a lot of competence in a small space, that is this ecological space of the river, that need to be approached as a whole and not as little piece. And then we find out that at least, but not maybe even more, 18 institutional subjects have competence of management and planning on the river. The state, the region, the municipality, the metropolitan city. And I mean, you can understand what this means. You are all probably in institutions, and this is one of the main reasons because things and projects, they don't work on the river. And if the river is not in a good state, is not as you have seen on the picture, it's difficult to think about tourism, not only from abroad, but even that Romans and citizens will start to use the river. What happens with all these public institutions that sometimes, and we start obviously to work with them to organize groups of focusing on single problems on the river, calling them to the same table. What happens is that the institutions are sometimes they are fragile and they are very divided. One of the main things in the institutions, in our context, the lack of the culture of partnership governance. I mean, if you have region and at the same table you have municipality and maybe you have ministry of the state, I mean, what happens is that everyone has his own governance skills and then is discussing about this little power that they have. They have not the vision that is necessary for when you manage a common goods, a shared interest. This culture of partnership governance. They think more about occupation of power. They accuse each other of faults to hide their own. I mean, this is the situation in this park is like this. You have a lot of rubbish because you have to clean, not you have to clean, no, you have to clean, instead of sitting at a table speaking and try to understand how can we keep this in a good state. I mean, this is what we start to do, to take the good citizens in the institution and to start to speak with them, because we are citizens when we are outside of the institution, we are citizens when we are on the bike on Sunday with our children. So trying to put together all the good parts of our society, citizens that represent sometimes also institutions, and try to collaborate. I mean, we work with people of institutions during hours that are not the regular working hours, because they start to be volunteer together with us. And then, so we start to go on. And if you go on the next slides, I think, as I said, the fragmentation of the system of public responsibilities is the primary causes of the degradation of the river in the urban area. Once we focused that, we started to work on that. And we find a lot of difficulty in doing this. One of the main difficulties is that the management of the river is not so clear. And this mapping, these maps that we are building with the concessions, so the government concession, of who is the one who have the due to clean it and to keep it in a good state, or maps of the competences, because people doesn't know who is the one, the institution that have competence on one or another part of the river. Then we are going to make this in a smart Tevere app that it will be a public website. So if you go on, then we understand that it's necessary to build this alliance between actors are able to commit themselves with their time that are time, ideas and skills, and the ability of the resource available for the requalification of the river. So we start to meet and we put together 24 existing associations that are working in Rome and that have interest in recovering the river. You can go the next, I don't remember which is the next. Okay, so our association want to work together in collaboration. We want to try to accelerate the change for having the Tevere an accessible and usable space, and this is fundamental for use them for Romans and tourists, and mainly for defining a new instrument of governance for the river, because we understand that the governance is not working. So which form of authority managed and animated by the community is full of synergy with institutions? So we start to think about something like a participatory foundation, and we are working on this together with the institution, obviously, because we are just citizens. And the participatory foundation is a model that exists in the jury, and that we can put together researcher, citizens and institutions for working together for one topic, and private, because another problem is for use is where we can find the financing for all of this. And we as Agenda Tevere, we manage in some case to find financing, private financing. And the point is that the private want to invest on the quality of the river, but they don't trust in the governance that actually is on the river. So maybe they trust more in Agenda Tevere than in giving money to the municipality, for example. So we are like an hub. We are like something in the middle, that we are the guarantee that the things then will work really. This is about changing the participation. We will want to collaborate. So we want not participation as a purely consultative value, but a managerial character. In this model, the institution have to understand that they need to be more oriented with social issues. The administration, the business have to be more social, the enterprise, the administration have to be more innovative, and the association more business oriented. These models can change the culture of governing the common goods. We have
Excuse me, Paola, you have only 5 minutes maximum.
Okay, it's not a problem. So you can go on. So this is the river contract, is the instrument that we use on the other way, on the other hand, but you heard about this about Alessandro, from Alessandro Drago yesterday, and every one of you probably knows what is a river contract, but we managed to organize this, and we are bringing this on. There is the only river contract that in Italy is promoted by an association and not by an institution. You can go on the next. This is the river Tiber. And what we did with our own voluntary craft, we have a website, everything we have seen before from Hamburg, no? For example, this is completely voluntary, not financed, but we have in our association someone who is working with social media and build for us a website, someone who is working with marketing and build for us a logo. Everything is done for citizens of Rome that have these competences. Then we also think that all this theory, so all this idea, what we understand and what we want to manage, need to be experimented on the field. So we worked in the last years on two little spots in Rome, one in the center, one more in the periphery. And we manage this space that you can see with the help of some enterprise that give us money, and with the collaborating with the city of Rome, because the city of Rome was the actors who was building this space. We are not taking care of this space. We are not building them. We just help the private with the money of the private, with the municipality, to try to build some space. And this was very important for us, because in this citizens and tourists can see how the river could be, and could be in all the long of the river, and not only in little spot. And for this image, for this kind of space, we are working. We want that all the part of the river we are taking care in the city of Rome up to the sea could be a park, and could be a park just with the craft of everyone investing on this together in collaboration. This is the sense, but I think there are some questions probably. Okay, this was the last slide, I think, or yes.
Thank you, Paola. We don't have a question in the chat. Ah, yes, maybe one. Yes, there is a question from Vilte. So Vilte asks you how you are managing the communication of Agenda Tevere in order to be more visible and attract support, extend your partnership.
Okay, we don't manage really good the communication, because we have not someone who is paid for doing this. But fortunately, we have the founder of Agenda Tevere was a journalist, and he tried to give this marketing policy of our association. But this is a difficult, like everything starts to be very difficult, because we have no funding. So it's always everything about volunteer. And this Camille knows this very good, because I was giving my presentation too late, later than what was planned, because I have a work, and this stuff came after my work, no? And this is obviously a problem. With the contract, the river contract, we are working very good, for example, because we participate to a public announcement of the Lazio region, and they finance us. So I have some young people working for this that I can pay with this money. But this is we don't manage very good.
Thank you. We will keep the other question for the end of the first part of presentation. And so now I will give the floor to Alzbeta to present us good practices from Next Tour network. Alzbeta, are you ready?
Yes, I'm ready.
Perfect. So the floor is yours.
Hello, everyone. I am going to present the River Vltava project, which is a joint project of two tourism boards, South Bohemian and Central Bohemian Tourist Boards. And we have prepared a short video, so if I can ask. I think the voice is
yes.
switched off. So if I can talk during the video.
Yes, you can talk, because I don't know how to share the sound.
Okay.
Sorry for this.
So as I told already, it is a joint project of two tourism boards, and the project focuses on the Vltava waterway to show it like one tourism destination for the visitors. The goal of the project is to guide the stakeholders to prepare a common products and communicate the destination as a one. So the Vltava River is a Czech national river, and it's the longest river in the Czech Republic. It's 430 kilometers long. it is a growing number of tourism in this area, and so that also the project focusing on the sustainability of the destination development in this area, and would like to somehow coordinate the load of tourists in this area. The project, may I ask for the next slide? Thank you very much. You can see the geographical definition of the project. So there are some points of interest showed with a picture over there. So the spring of the Vltava River is in Kvilda, which is the first point on the left. And on the top is the city of Mělník, where is the confluence of Vltava River with the river Elbe. The river is divided into two sections. The first section belongs to the South Bohemian Tourism Board, and another third section belongs to the Central Bohemian Tourist Board. So they are managing this project from this point. May I ask for the next slide, please? So you can see here some highlights of the Vltava River. You can see that it's a pretty interesting landscape, and the project would like to promote not only the river itself, but also the surroundings. Please, the next slide. Like castles, we can see here two castles. The cities, of course, Prague and Český Krumlov, UNESCO cities. Next slide, please. And this is a confluence of the Vltava and Elbe River in Mělník, where is the end of the Vltava project also. Next slide, please. The destination, the Vltava destination is crossed by two Eurovelo routes, the 7, the Sun route, and the 13, the Iron Curtain route. Trail is also going through this destination. Next slide, please. You can see some attractions, some activities people can do in Vltava River. Some of them are also in the city centers, as you can see, and it's not a problem for the city and not a problem for the river at all. Next slide, please. The vision of this project is that it is a supra-regional significance project which strengthens inter-regional cooperation, connects tourism entities and residents, generates new business opportunities, and offers visitors high-quality services in an attractive holiday environment. The waterway will become, according to the vision, so the vision is that it will become a new summer resort along its entire length. It will be a place where locals and visitors can enjoy life and harmony, interact together, and share experiences. Next slide, please. The mission of the project is, so it sounds in Czech better than in English, where you can sail, you can live well. Next slide, please. The collaboration between the two tourist boards was or showed in a strategy development. The strategy is prepared up to 2022, and it's based on the audit of services on the waterway, which is based on the meeting of representatives of tourist areas and the Vltava Association members. Both tourism boards is responsible for monitoring the strategy and setting the targets. And of course, for the entities in the tourist area, for the companies, entrepreneurs, public sector, the strategy presents a functional scenario supplemented by knowledge and data from the territory at the regional level. Next slide, please. Here you can see the destination network, because the first task, as we also heard from the speakers in the morning earlier, was the creation of destination network. There are 3 groups of institutions who belong to this destination network. There are investment partners, marketing partners, and control authorities. I need to mention that originally the project had to be financed by the Ministry of Regional Development, but what happened during the project, the budget was cut and cut. So the regional governments, South Bohemian and Central Bohemian regional governments, decided to finance the projects themselves. Next slide, please. Next slide, please. Thank you. So here are some challenges the project was focusing. First, at the state level, it was an endless problem with the Ministry of Regional Development, as I said before, with budget cutting, with unclear terminology, public support issues, unauthorized reduction of this budget, as I said, and so on. This complication led the tourism boards to decide not to use the ministry's financial support. Regional level, the biggest challenge was the non-existent system of destination companies in the Central Bohemian region. Next slide, please. And on the area level, it was difficulty in cooperation with areas without proper regional or then that time still state certification, because they did not take the project for granted and seriously. So they said somebody is doing something and okay, we will see how it will, what will happen. And at the stakeholders level, it was a problem when the DMOs started to sending out information without any coordination. So each DMO started to send out information about the project which was not coordinated. Next slide, please. Next slide, please. On the side of stakeholders, we can see some strengths and weaknesses. So definitely the strength was the knowledge of the needs and the problems they faced on the side of tourist boards, so they know their stakeholders. Then the flexible adjustment of the project to perfect needs and involvement of the stakeholders into the project, so they took it for granted and help to the tourism boards. The weaknesses, trivialization of the project and activities from above, with the words, you don't know how hard it is. So probably also the other colleagues know how it sounds. And also the promise of involvement, and then they rebounded from the project. Then inability to quality benefits to the region and interest only in own contribution. Next slide, please. But I don't want to finish pessimistically. So some achievements at the end. The DMO network is being built and new DMOs are founded now. DMOs developed new projects around the waterway, including those not directly related to the river, focusing on sustainability. Just some examples. Bed and Bike, which is a very interesting project because you can rent accommodation and you get an electric bicycle to it for one day. So it's not a bed and breakfast, but bed and bike. Then it was another project launched, camps, Lipensko, it's around the Lipno Dam. Then Lužnice route, which is a river which goes with flow to the Vltava, and it's also very nice. So the Vltava route and also the wilderness guide. So these are some projects or some products that have been launched already. Tourist areas began also to pay more attention to the river and to the boating. What will happen next? The tourist boards, they don't know. As the pandemic stopped some activities, the strategy is prepared till 2022, but it's not only the pandemic what happened, but also the regional government changed. So now they are waiting how all these things will develop in the near future. So this is the last slide. Thank you very much. And if you have questions, please do not hesitate to ask. Thank you very much.
Thank you for your presentation. There is a question from Sarah from Hamburg asking if the network is well known among the top performer and residents in the area. And if so, how did they achieve this?
Yes, it's known because you know, water sports in that area are extremely popular in Czech Republic. If you go in the summer to Vltava River, especially in the area from the spring up to, so where the South Bohemian Tourist Boards is active, you will see many people on the boats, kayaks, rafts, and so on. And so people give us word of mouth information, and also they have internet pages. So it was not that difficult to spread the information. Of course, the new projects which are not directly on the river, but on the waterway, close to the waterway, they need to be advertised much more. And this is a product or the plan to prepare some stories, as we saw in your presentation. And these stories will bring people or the Vltava River close to the people. So this is the plan.
Thank you for the clarification. This was the only question, it seems.
Yes, maybe I have also a question. Elżbieta, do you have any figures in terms of budget of the costs of the achieved activities related to this project?
No, but it can be found on the project sites,
Okay.
which is www.vltavariver.com in English or in Czech.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
So maybe we can take 3 minutes for the remaining questions. I think we had a question for me. No, Alexis?
Yes, indeed. There was a question from Vilte asking if the program from 2021 looks amazing. However, how the coronavirus can change or modify it. Do you have a plan B?
Yeah. We don't have plan B for all activities. We need to launch something now, because you know that if we wait if we wait for the spring, for example, to start working on summer activities, it's too late. So we had to start, and we are crossing fingers to that the situation will be better during the summer, but of course we don't know. So for example, for the boat trips, we know that we could do it with less people on board. So it's more expensive, etc., but it's possible. And also for the events, for example, for the hiking events, the 2 hiking events we would like to organize, we are trying to organize them with an organization which with respect of the sanitary measures, which means very small groups of walking people with no or a very little visits indoors, and more outdoors visits and animations, etc. So for all the activities planned, we are trying to find kind of plan B. But of course, if the situation is the same as today, I think almost everything will be impossible to be done. So we will be we will have to postpone to next year or something. But we don't have any perfect solution, as everybody, I think. Thank you, Vilte, for the question.
There was also another question from Vilte to Paola. So I will just reactivate her mic, asking how she's managing the communication of Agenda Tevere in order to be more visible and attract support and extend its partnership.
I think we asked this question, no?
Sorry. I was scrolling at the top. Sorry. It was a question to Elżbieta. Do you have a web for bed and bike project it's a question from Dieter. Let me just. You should be able to speak, Azbeta, I think. Are you still here?
Elzbieta? Okay, maybe we can.
Maybe we can move on to the next question. It was a question from François to Paula. What type of projects are private companies involved in? Is it private projects or also on public projects? Paula, you should be able to speak now.
Speaking?
Yeah.
Okay, they are public project. We manage that public, that company give not money directly for realizing the project, but they just give in loan for use of, did you see the picture with the tables, seats, and all the furniture in this area? And for example, with the, so they give us furnitures, and sometimes they donate money, but they give to Agenda Tevere. And then Agenda Tevere is the sponsor for this area that are realized from the public. So we are like an hub. We are like we are something that we build the trust for the company to give us staff and money, but for a public space. Is it something like we have more trust, the trust in us that we realize this place. And sometimes with the institution, because of this unclear governance of this area around the river, sometimes they get lost. So we manage these two small spaces that like summer temporary spaces on the river for tourists and for Romans. But it's just like an experimental things, because what our goals is to bring the institution with us for realizing a permanent area park on the river.
From a next door network member, Vojvodina travel agency with a project called Identity.
Hello to everybody. Thank you very much for this chance for being with you and to show you the project. I just need to say that the project name is Identitis, Integrated Development of Natural and Cultural Tourism in Tisa River region. First of all, I would like to say that this project was at the end of 2018, and the tourism organization of Vojvodina, as the lead beneficiary, started the implementation of Identitis project in cooperation with partners from Hungarian county of Csongrád. The project aimed to increase the visibility of tourism offer of the Tisa river region, and both from the Serbian and from the Hungarian side. Regarding Serbian side, it was 11 municipalities, and also I need to say that as well as we have Danube as international river, which runs through Serbia and the northern part of Serbia, Vojvodina region, we also have Tisa river, which is also international river, but it wasn't promoted and developed enough during the years. So the tourism organization of Vojvodina, which is the leading partner in the project, has through this project developed database and a website which covers all key entities. As I told you, it was 11 municipalities along the Tisa River. Also the thematic priority of this project was to encourage tourism and cultural and natural heritage. Also priority axis was encouraging tourism and cultural heritage cooperation. We have more than 5, actually 6 actions. In the duration of the project was 27 months. We started on the 1st of May 2018, and the project was ended at the end of July. Because of pandemic situation, we also had last project for 3 months. About, as I told you, Tourism Organization of Vojvodina was a lead beneficiary, and Csongrád Megyei Önkormányzás was another partner. The sources of funding was Interreg IPA, cross-border cooperation, Hungary, Serbia. The requested EU contribution was 206,000, about 85%, and national contribution was 10,000 of by the Hungarian side. Own contribution of the project was 26,523 euros. A total project budget, you can see on the slideshow, was 242,700 euros. That's all considering 100% of the project. The project's main objective was to create sustainable joint touristic offer in Tisa River region based on strategic planning through usage of modern services and tools for promotion and touristic products. As I told you, we have numerous activities in the project. First of all, was to create a common database because we didn't have, until this project, we didn't have a unique database which is considering both sides, Hungarian and Serbian side, on the Tisa River. We created a mobile application guide that was from the Csongrád county. And action 3 was activating and managing web portal for the promotion of thematic routes. You can see these thematic routes and everything about the project on the website www.identitis.online.com. On that site, you can find the many routes, and you can also see what we done about digital activities and all the activities in the project. So if you are interested, you can go there and see on this website. Also, we had project activities which are concerning organizing seminar for local stakeholders, organizing thematic workshops for local stakeholders, organizing workshop for branding and promotion of touristic products, organizing workshop on the available EU funds, because it is important for the both sides to know what the funds are, and also with the Next Tour network, we saw that we have a lot of projects that we are not have been involved, but now when we are in a Next Tour network, we also can apply for the COSME projects and some other projects. That is why I'm emphasizing this part, because I need to say that only region which is non-EU region is Vojvodina region, and we are member of the Next Tour since 2017. Also, as the promotion of tourist offer is a complex job, we discussed key topics and ways to improve tourism in Tisa River region. Good practices from the both countries were presented, advanced technologies discussed, and powerful marketing tools in promoting and presenting tourism destinations, ways of branding, marketing, and other things we represented on these activities. And we also discussed how to implement the concept of sustainable tourism development. As you can see on this slide, we have a third part of activities are considering preparing the joint tourism development strategy with the action plan, organizing informative workshops with local tourist actors. We also identify tourist routes and organized also 5 pilot tours. When we evaluated those pilot tourist routes, we picked 3 routes which will be implemented and which are which have been visited through these educational actually promo tours to see how the both sides are implementing those what we put in this 5 pilot tourist routes. Also, we have branding of thematic tourist routes, that is those 3 routes that I've mentioned that we picked as the main routes. In the project activities number 4, we have create a marketing plan for the promotion of tourist routes. We have been promoting thematic tours at tourism fairs in Hungary and also in Serbia, in Belgrade. But when we have organized special events everywhere in the region that we've been guests with promotion of Vojvodina region, we put it this river tourism on the Tisa river as a main spot. Also, we have, as I told you, creating cross-border network of Identitis project. In this cross-border network, there were the main stakeholders that been involved in those promo tours. All these entities have shown a great desire and willingness to participate in the implementation of the Identitis project, and that is the most important for us, that we actually not just created, but we became, I can say, long life partners for all the other projects. And also I had a call, actually have open call last week because Hungary, actually Csongrád county is preparing strategy for cycle routes, which was one part of these routes, to have a joint offer and to promote not only Hungarian side but also and Serbian side in this strategy. So as I told you, target groups were tourists. We have the official statistic shows that we have increased number of tourists in this region. Also, I can say that when we have open borders, we had promo tours for Serbian and for Hungarian medias, and that was very important to us because we have succeed to have these promo tours and to bring more than 2,000 tourists and much more than 2,000, which was the main output from the project. Also, we have with us representatives of tourist organizations, the representatives of tourist agencies, tour operators, providers of various services relating to tourism. We have a representative of regional and local public bodies responsible for tourism and economic development. And also with us, there were representatives of NGO, and that is what this project makes sustainable and effective for further cooperation. Also, what I want to tell you, as I told you, that we achieved project results that were expected. And we increased the number of visits of cultural heritage and attractions in Tisa River region. I need to say regarding this that this part is as the whole Vojvodina region, the north part of Serbia region, is multicultural and multi-confessional region. And also in Tisa River region is the most minority, which is the most living in the Tisa River region is Hungary, and that is what we done through this project is also increasing this part of multicultural region, which led us to increase the number of tourists and overnight stays, as well as the revenue in the tourist sector and service industry. Also, as I told you, it was important to establish cooperation and communication between touristic organizations, operators, companies, public administrations, and citizens on the both sides of the border. And those achieved project results were also visible because as I told you, now that part of Čankar County and those 11 municipalities in Vojvodina region and all stakeholders, and actually, which is important for tourist economy and industry, and they increased the conscious about the project, about the products that we can develop in this. Also, you know that travel agencies and tour operators are suffering the most regarding the pandemic situation. And because the project was finished during this period, all tour operators that we involved were satisfied because they have opportunity to sell their products and to actually increase the incoming tourism, not just outgoing to go on the other places during the summer. As I told you, those three thematic tourist routes that I mentioned, you created joint tourism products, and that was the most attractive tourist destination in the region. Do you want something to say to me?
Yes, just to try to conclude, to give the floor to the next presentation, but you still have 1 minute.
But I'm finished.
Okay, perfect.
I'm finished. The project front, I just want to say that the project partners from the Hungary and from the Serbia are now doing a lot of things together. And that was the most important for this project, as I told you a few times, and for the river of Tisa, because we are speaking about river tourism. River of Tisa, now we have typical products, tourism products, and we have tours, and now we are prepared to organize and to help actually tourist industry regarding all of this. If you want to contact me, I'm the director of tourism organization of Vojvodina. Here is my email. And the website, on the website of tourism organization of Vojvodina, Vojvodina.travel, you can find a lot of things that you are interested. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Natasha. So can you stop sharing the screen?
Of course.
Thank you. And now we will have the last presentation from Val-de-Marne, so our region. Claire, are you ready to start?
Yes, I'm ready. Hello to everyone. So I'm Claire Beyler and I work for a local government aimed on water and water management, rivers, floods, and nature. So you can see the message here. Just dare to go swimming in the river. Next. So what is this sage? Sage, there's a little play on words. It means wise. So it's a plan. It's a plan for water management, and it's funded on a commitment to make water and aquatic environment an asset for territory development. This is the translation of the will of the local people, and you will see later how it was built. Next. A little history. So at the end of the 19th century, the River Marne became the recreational area of Paris, with many leisures related to water and riverbanks. You had canoeing, rowing, dancing, music. So it was really a place where people joined together, and a lot of painters just made the paintings of those nice sceneries with people in it. In the 20th century, with urban development, the river progressively loses its natural characteristic, its flow, its bank, its surroundings, everything changes. And in the 70s, urban development has destroyed the environment. The river quality dropped dramatically. You have very often pollution, and you have to stop making water supply with the river, and the river banks turn to dumps. You have solid waste everywhere, and swimming is forbidden. At the end of the 80s, the inhabitants and a few local officials react to that situation and want to make the River Marne alive again. So they join together and they try to see what is the good way of making improvement with the river. And they create a local government. They join together, so about more than 10 towns just join together and say, we have to do something. And a new local government is created in 1993. And they decide, after a few years, just seeing that being together is not enough, that the will is good, but not enough, that they want to use a legal structure, a legal pattern. You can see on the pictures the evolution of swimming. You can see the just natural swimming, then bathing places, and you're here at 10 kilometers from Paris. And you see the urban development by the banks, so you don't see any natural things there. And the last one is just the saddest one, but it's the reality. River was considered as a place where you could just throw wastewater. The banks were easy to make roads like that. You didn't have to cross anything. So it was a big change in the end of the 19th century. So the SAGE is a facultative plan. It's written in law as a specific tool to reach the Water European Directive for Good Water Quality. So it's a tool. It's written in the law that you can use that planning tool, but it's left to local initiative and with different stakeholders, civilians, local officials, companies, but you need to have a shared project on water resource. It benefits from local initiative and dynamism, but it's also everybody's concern. So something special in France, and it started in 1965, is that water policy is based on water basin, on water catchment. So you have no relation with the administrative boundaries, which is a good thing and sometimes a bit complicated. So you can see that you have many SAGE in France. You have nearly 150 SAGE operating, and you can see that you have just a few. You have 4 in the Métropole of Paris, the colored things that you can see, and you have the SAGE Marne Confluence with 52 villages, towns, and cities, because they have different size, from 2,000 people to more than 100 or 1 million if you include Paris. So all that is about 1.2 million inhabitants. How is this SAGE governed? There's a little water parliament. It's the Water Commission. And this Water Commission is composed of 79 members. It's according to the size of your SAGE parameter that you have the number of people. You have 44 elected officials. It means they represent local governments. You have 21 users and associations, meaning that you have people from the territory, people who live there, who have occupation there, and who generally have a special interest in the territory, not especially in water, but territory. You can have people who go cycling, fishing association, rowing association, and you have 14 representatives of state, department, or agency. How is it financed? It's voluntary financed. So it's the Syndicat Marne-Vive, which is a local water board, that decided to finance this SAGE, because this SAGE would help the water river management. So it took 8 years to be constructed, so 8 years. Why? Because as you've seen, the board, the 79 board of people, is just people from everywhere and with different interests. So you have to make them join together, make a diagnosis of the territory, and try to express what they want for the territory, for the water. So 8 years before we had the plan, and we didn't lose time, I can tell you. It was very active, a lot of dynamism, workshops, votes. So what do you want? What do you want? Do you really want to go back swimming in the river? Do you just want to let the urban development go on? So it was very interesting and very innovative to have different kind of people in those workshops. So the plan has 6 major objectives. Number 1, succeed in integrating water, aquatic environment, and ecological continuity in the development dynamic of the territory. So you can hear in those 6 objectives, you can hear that even if tourism is not in it, it's underlined. There's something that can lead to develop tourism in it. Improve the quality of all waters in order to allow bathing in the Marne in 2022 and secure water supply. It's important, this 2022. It's, if you don't have a special date, if you don't have an agenda, then you can go on for ages. So that was a big discussion. What date should we put? Something that can be reached, but something a bit ambitious too. Reinforce the ecological functioning of the Marne with its landscape identity and balanced uses. You see, once again, landscape uses. Reconquest old river tributaries with a landscape and ecological approach in order to encourage its social appropriation. So there again, social appropriation, something meant for the people. Reclaim the Marne banks, and again, the aim of 2022, And of course, you can't do that without making people work together. So coordinate, provide tools and mobilize institutional stakeholders, water users and general population to ensure the SAGE success. So the plan has two big books, let's say, one with main directions, and which is called the plan, and one with regulation, 6 regulation, mostly on water. We have specific tools. So we have this plan, but you have to act. So how can we act? We have a 6-year program with 22 people signing in. They sign, they say, we are going to do that. So what's type of action? It can be, like I heard in other countries, that you're going to renovate the banks, you're going to make vegetation, you're going to work on water treatment. So many actions on the river quality, on the aquatic environment, and all that up to 98 million. We also have a landscape plan. This landscape plan is a way we discovered that we needed that. It's a way to put people together, people from different origin, to have architects, land planners, association, and try and understand what they like in a scenery, in a landscape, what they want, what they live. And this was very interesting experience. And we have workshops focused on nature, land planning, water quality users to implement the SAGE. The river is, you have, I can't remember who said that, maybe it was in Hamburg, you have a users conflict. The river is meant to receive the waste treatment plant water when it's processed. It's meant to supply water for more than 2 million people. It's meant to have navigation for economic purpose, navigation for leisure. It has houseboats and many leisures like fishing, rowing, paddling, canoeing, and just simply discovering the river. And there's a special goal, the bathing, swimming back in the Marne. So you could swim till 1970 in the River Marne, and then it was forbidden, it's strictly forbidden, you're not allowed to swim. And why? Because the quality is not there, the bacterial quality is not there. The interest of this aim, this basic bathing aim, is that it's something that federates people, and many people have been swimming in the river. So it's not a lost thing. It's something that has existed and that you want to get back. And being able to swim in the river means that the quality is back and the quality of the environment is back, and that people can have a purpose to go back near the river. And for the moment, we have five towns that are ready to try and have a bathing place. For me, the SAGE as a tool is a real tribute for our territory. First of all, you have to make territory, make people understand and discover where they live and what are the characteristics and specificity of their territory. And they work, they fight, and they join for it. You have to develop technology and knowledge and feelings about this territory. If you want to make plans, if you want to make works on the banks, if you want to make projects, you have to know what you have under your hands. And it's a real tool to protect biodiversity, landscapes, and water quality. And there's also this really this regulation part of the SAGE that if you build something that is not good for water, you have this tool, this SAGE, and you say, no, this is not going in the right way. You can't do that. So this really helps. there's a flying image. It shouldn't be there. So behind the flying image, you should have seen that territory is important because it just makes people be together. So what is the risk of and the difficulties and the challenges with a SAJ? I said it's voluntary. So if people want to get off it, well, they can. For the moment, it has never happened. You have to keep the dynamic. You have to obtain results because it's a plan. So you have to show that this plan led to this those 100 actions, and those 100 actions, there were sometimes studies and sometimes they were really public works. You have to adapt to the administrative changing shapes of Paris region, and you have to secure the bottom to top principle. If you don't hear what is said and what is lived on the territory, it fragilizes the SAJ. You have to update the tools and the objectives, and you have to be a keeper. You're a keeper of the environment. You're a keeper of the water, and a conductor have to lead the people and make them go towards the same direction. And all that for sustainable development, where tourism has more than its place. Thank you.
Thank you, Claire. So now we will take some time for questions. Yes.
Yes,
I think we have questions.
That's right. So there was a question from Vilte asking, does it goes on voluntary basis?
So yes, it's not a compulsory tool. So you have, as shown in one of the first slides, all France is not covered by SAJ. It's just at the moment people say, well, maybe building a SAJ will help us go towards our aim. And in our case, it was the aim was bathing and just protecting the area from just crazy urban development.
There was also another question from Natasha. Where will you get 98 millions, I believe, is it, euros? 98 million euros from?
We get them, yes. Well, the stakeholders who start the actions, well, they put in some money, but we get between signing this contract with the state, the local state or the regional authorities, we get between 20 to 50 to 80% grants. But it's all the 22 stakeholders who say we're going to do that. They have the money to do it, but they also have grants that reduce the price of their action. It's very expensive because there's a lot of wastewater system that's very expensive. All the actions towards the river banks is less expensive.
Thank you, Claire. I have a question for Natasha in Vojvodina. I don't know, Natasha, if you are still here with us. If it's the case, I would like to know how do you see the next steps and next years of your partnership in Vive. But I'm not sure Natasha is still here. No, seems no. Okay, I will ask her by mail. So if everybody has other questions for Claire or for the previous presenters of the morning. Ah, yes, Natasha is back, I think.
Here I am. Can you hear me?
Yes.
You have questions for me?
Yes, I was wondering, how do you see the future of your partnership along Tisa River for the next years, because the Interreg project is going to end this year, and I think you said that you plan to continue to carry on this project. So how do you plan to do it?
Actually, we also applied in 2019. We also applied for the continuation of this project. It was called Identitis Smart, but unfortunately, this project didn't pass. It was under the list below, but that wasn't because we have this project aimed to last more than 18 months, but during the whole situation and everything else, it was last 28 months, as I told you, but that wasn't stopped us to be partners, and it wasn't stopped to be always in the contact regarding the stakeholders that were in this project. And also I am thinking about our cooperation, as I told you, regarding cyclotourism. Csongrád County has that strategy, which they are writing, and they contacted us. But we will try to improve those tourist products regarding tourism organization of Vojvodina, and also regarding Csongrád County by the national funds. And also we will continue to be in contact, because a lot of stakeholders were satisfied, especially, as I told you, travel agencies and tour operators are interested to put those programs and tours into their job. And I think that this is the most important, that partners need to be in touch, and that we are not just political partners, but we are also exchanging know-how and everything else that is on both sides of the project.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
So is there any other question or comment before we conclude this webinar?